Hello, this is Mr. Gretzky 9966 for the fourth time now. I will hopefully get this video finished and be done with it. So here is Shana, what they call Shanghai, which is a Mahjong type game. If you ever played Mahjong, you know what it's about. It's basically a block. It's basically a little game like dominoes type thing. They look like dominoes, and you either can make the things disappear, or you put them out, or you play it the other way where you put them out or whatever. Here is Alex Kidd in High Tech World and Alex Kidd in the Lost Stars, two games that I have beat, and I love them. And had him say I had at least Alex Kidd since '88. That was one of the first games I had. 1988 when I got the system. It was their mascot at the time, trying to be Mario, and I guess it didn't take off with fans, so they ended up going with the Sonic the Hedgehog, which you know Sega for in the late '80s, early '90s. So that's that. We have Aztec, Black Belt. There's a karate game, some action games, Captain Silver, Cloud Masters. You also have Columns, which is like their version of Tetris. Since they couldn't have Tetris, they came up with this game Columns. It also is ported on the Genesis. They have the arcade game Dead Angle and Double Dragon, which you can get on Nintendo also. Then they have Gangster Town, which uses the light phaser gun, which is like the light gun. Nintendo called it, but they called theirs light phaser. And they ended up having two games built into the system. The Safari Hunt, which is like their Duck Hunt. And the other game is Hang On, which was a motorcycle racing game where you just had to beat the levels. You had to beat it before the time runs out. And that game was beat by my neighbor. The Safari Hunt, you can play all day. I don't know how many levels there are, but you can keep playing and playing and playing. And you basically have 3 levels. You keep shooting, and each time it goes up, you're like level 2 of the screen, level 3, and so forth. But that game, but the Hang On game was beat by my neighbor's brother down the street. Good friend of mine. Then great baseball is their sports type games where great baseball, great basketball, great football, and great golf. They also had great volleyball, great ice hockey, and great tennis, which I don't have those 3, which I'd like to have those 3, and I don't remember if they had any other part of that series, but I know there was at least those 3 that I want to get. Then and I also had basketball and football since I was a kid. So that's part of the 12 games that I had as a kid. Here's King's Quest, Quest for the Crown. I have beat that game before. It is a great game. Beat it. Me and my dad beat it. And then we had it's also my most expensive game I have, which I didn't realize that this game would be one of the more expensive games I have. But running around between 90 and 100. So that's a cool thing to have. Complete too. And then we have Missile Command 3D and Paperboy, which is the game I got also with Rampage in place of Walter Payton's Football. That did not seem to work for the system very well. So we took it back to Toys R Us, returned it, and got those 2 games for the price of that, which I wish I probably would have got something different. But at the time, Rampage was a big deal on computer and Nintendo. I ended up playing that at my aunt's lady she worked with. Her son, Derek, had the game. I remember playing it first there and then got it on this system. Then I got Rambo 3, a shooting game, which they did have. I did play Rambo First Blood and Rambo Part 2. I played both of those for the system. This is Reggie Jackson's Baseball, which is, as everybody knows, came in one of those. I know Black Belt is another one that could come in that was in this, like, blue cart. variation. There's a bunch of variants, but I guess there was some that came in a little card that you got, and then there were some that came in this blue cartridge thing, and that's the ones that I got. For that, got it pretty cheap. Got the Rocky game here. I beat the Rocky game as a kid. I've had that since I was a kid. I beat that. Shooting galleries, same thing, uses light phaser. I have Space Harriers. Love Space Harriers. Got pretty far in that. Haven't beat it. I know there's other guys that have beat it as kids and could do probably way better than I could, but I probably got to about level 6 after a while of playing it. Now I don't know how I would do because I haven't played it in so long. We're in Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I remember playing Where in the USA on the computer and then playing this. And also I think there was a port of this, or was it Where in Time? I can't remember. It was on the NES, had a version of this on there. Real cool game. A Formula One racing game called Road Grand Prix. Pretty good game. Not great, but what can you do? I mean, it's like the arcade stuff, you know. It's not really that great. And then there's this Sega Scope 3D, Zaxxon 3D game. I guess you have to have something. I forget what it is. If there's something special you got to have with it. But it's a real cool game to have in the collection. There's only about 28 games I have. There's only about 29 more games that I wish I had or would like to have. That I'd like to have for the collection, about 29 more. And that would give me 57, about half the collection. Because there's only about 114. And then if you count all the variations, and then other games that came from like Japan and all that, there's a lot more than that. But just for North American release, this is 28 of the North American release games I do have. And I will be getting 29 more, getting half the U.S. collection. I don't think I can afford the rest of the collection. Some of the games are more expensive. But until next time, this is Mr. Gretzky signing off.